Hello and welcome to A Gut Feeling. My name is Janine, and here on this channel we talk all about optimizing our gut health. Now if you're a part of this channel, you know that I'm a big fan of a specific carbohydrate diet, and if you're new here and you haven't heard about this diet, I'll have cards up here somewhere to a video I did as to why I chose this diet above others to help and heal my gut from ulcerative colitis. Now I'm not a doctor or a dietitian, and the things that I share are only things that I have learned from my own experience and research. So before you make any changes to your diet or supplements, make sure to consult your doctor first. Now in other videos, I've talked about this diet and how when starting, you need to start on the intro phase, and so that's what this video is about. I will also have links in the description to the other video where I talk more about this diet, so that after you're done watching this one, you can go and check that one out. What is the intro phase and what can you actually eat? So what the intro phase is for the specific carbohydrate diet, it tries to eliminate all problem foods and it leaves you with a small variety of foods that you can eat so that you can start healing your gut. Alright, so what you're seeing here is practically the intro diet in a nutshell. Let's start off with liquids first. Obviously water would be the beverage of choice, and I highly recommend that you get distilled water or get your own distiller, because you don't want to be wrecking the progress you've made with your diet because you're drinking bad water. Waters that have nitrates or heavy metals in them. Now besides water, you can have both grape juice and apple cider. You want to make sure that your grape juice is 100% pure, no other juices or added sugars. From what I understood in the book, the reason that you want apple cider and not apple juice is because often companies will put other ingredients with apple juice and it may actually not be included on the label. So to be on the safe side, we go with apple cider. Now when you're drinking either of these, you need to dilute it with water. Do half juice and half water because this is a very high sugar content. And I would recommend that just be careful with the amount of sugar that you take in with drinks because it is very high in sugar. But it does make it nice to have just a little bit of extra something when it just seems that your diet is so bland all the time. All right, moving on, you can have eggs. But if your diarrhea is really severe, it's suggested that you eliminate eggs until your diarrhea clears up. And the 3 ways you can prepare an egg is to scramble it, poach it, or boil it. Alright, I don't have a display of meat here, but you are permitted to have meat on this diet, beef, chicken, fish, but you have to prepare it a certain way because meat can be tough and a little bit harder to digest. So the 3 ways you can prepare meat for this diet: broil it, boil it, or roast it. There's 3 different ways. And I will be making videos about all this food and how to prepare it. So those will be coming out, and if they already came out, the links will be in the description. I just want you to know that everything on here I will have recipes for. So moving on, we have 24-hour homemade yogurt. This yogurt is completely different than the stuff that you buy in the store because when you make your own yogurt and culture it for 24 hours, it eats up all the lactose in the milk. And so the majority of people that can't handle dairy because of the lactose in it will most likely be able to have this type of yogurt. So do not buy store-bought yogurt because store-bought yogurt isn't cultured as long as it needs to be to make sure all the lactose in the milk is eaten up by the probiotics. Now this yogurt is delicious. I make it in smoothies, I put honey on it, and a little bit later on when you can add more fruits into the diet, ripe bananas are so good in smoothies or just to put on top of your yogurt to eat fresh. So there's a lot of things you can do with yogurt, and it has been the staple in my diet. I believe another essential part of healing the gut is to give it rest. And so doing things like intermittent fasting or just not eating a lot of food throughout the day can be really helpful to help repair your gut. So one of the things I do is I drink a lot of yogurt smoothies throughout the day, and then in the evening I usually eat my main meal. The only vegetable you can have right now are carrots, but not raw carrots. You have to peel them and cook them until they're a mush. And they would also recommend at the beginning phases of this diet that you puree your vegetables. That way it's just a mush, much easier to digest, much easier on your system. So one of the recipes that they have is a chicken soup recipe. And once again, I'll have videos linked in the description to that recipe. That's what we have right here. All it is boiled chicken and carrots in a brothy soup. And it's tasty. It's something you can easily make a big batch, put it in the fridge, and pull it out for snacks, for lunch, for dinners, and so on. There's also a type of cheese that is permitted on the intro phase of the diet. The diet calls it dry curd cheese. A lot of people know it as farmer's cheese or paneer cheese. Once again, I've made a video where you can figure out how to make it if you can't find it in your local store. But that is what I have right here. It's basically a very dry cheese, maybe a little similar to like ricotta cheese. It's something that gives you a little bit added fat, protein, quick snack during the day. I enjoy putting honey on it. Whenever you make your dinner, if you're doing like a main meat, say for instance like burger patties, I enjoy putting some farmer's cheese on top of that. It doesn't melt very well, but it does taste delicious, and I think it makes an excellent meal. The other thing I have on this plate is gelatin. It's a healthy homemade gelatin that you make with juice. Once again, 100% pure juice, no sugar added. If that isn't sweet enough, to me it's almost too sweet, but if you have a really sweet tooth, you may add honey to the recipe, but I really wouldn't recommend it. We are getting a lot of sugars with just some of the things we have here. So jello is really healthy because it has beef gelatin in it, and beef gelatin helps to heal the inside of your intestines. When you have severe issues like ulcerative colitis or Crohn's, often we tend to lose a lot of mucus and blood, and so gelatin is one way that helps us rebuild the intestinal walls of our gut. There's one other recipe in the book that I actually haven't made on this channel, but it's a cheesecake recipe. I made it one time. I wasn't just a huge fan of it, but if you're interested in that, that is another recipe you can try. I would encourage you to order the book, and I'll have links below, as you'll get the full diet plan here, a few extra recipes. So this book isn't the most specific when talking about the intro diet. It just gave a few foods that you can eat. And one of the recipes called for honey. And so I just decided to include honey right off the bat so I could put it in my smoothies, put it with my yogurt. Just makes a very delicious addition to this type of diet. Another great trick is to make honey mustard for your chicken. Do equal parts of mustard and honey, and you have a delicious sauce for your chicken whenever you have your main meal. Now, as far as condiments and spices go, you pretty much can't have anything unless it's in its purest form and it's not like a real spicy spice, if you know what I'm trying to say. So I would allow myself to have something like mustard, but not ketchup. Ketchup has a lot of added sugars and it's a tomato base. Mustard is more mild. Obviously you want to stay away from hot spices, but some spices like garlic I would include. But just make sure you're using a spice that's the whole ingredient. You're not using like a mixture of spices where you look at it and there's like a whole list of ingredients. So that's kind of the general rule of thumb that I go by. Now if you're like me and you like hot drinks and you miss your coffee, one trick that I've done is I've taken apple cider, since we can have this if it's diluted with water, and have warm apple cider on these cool days. It's tasty. Another thing you can have would be like a peppermint tea, but there are a lot of teas that are not permitted on the diet, but peppermint tea is one of my favorites, and it's a permitted tea to have. Anyway guys, it pretty much sums up the intro diet. Like I mentioned before, when this video comes out, I won't actually have these recipes right away on my channel. They'll be coming out in the next week. I'll have recipes on how to make the jello, the cheese, the yogurt, and the soup. They're not hard to make, and it's really handy to have around because if you're like me and you get really hungry and there's no food to eat, you will cheat. And you don't want to cheat on this diet. You really want to stick it out. I've been struggling in a flare for about 5 months, trying every diet, trying all kinds of fasts. Nothing seemed to work for me. And when I started on this diet, I had results within a week. Now it's a long healing process. I'm not healed yet. It's going to take months and years possibly, but this won't be your diet forever. This is just the intro phase to try to get your diarrhea, your symptoms to calm down. And then from here, you can slowly start introducing one food at a time, see how your body reacts to it. I would also highly suggest that you maybe go off all your supplements or most of them, because we can actually be reacting to healthy supplements that we're taking. And so treat supplements like food as well. You get down to the intro diet and then you slowly introduce food. You slowly introduce supplements one at a time just to see how your body reacts. That way you can always pinpoint what's causing you problems and what isn't. And as your body starts to heal, you will be able to add some of your problem foods. Let's just say you add squash into your diet and you can't handle it right away. You eliminate it again for a week or two, maybe some months, add it back in later, and you should be able to tolerate it eventually. But there may be some foods that you won't ever be able to tolerate, so you have to learn your own body and what your body can tolerate and what it cannot. Even if the diet says you may have certain types of food, if your body can't handle it, then don't push through with that. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you're interested in this diet and you have an interest, I would encourage you to go ahead and try it. It has really helped me out. And once you start seeing results, it's so much easier to stick to a diet like this. And I have found the combination of proteins and carbohydrates, honestly, it leaves me satisfied, and I don't find myself just craving other foods like crazy. Yes, I can't wait till I can incorporate more foods into my diet, but I'm at a point right now where I don't have that insane craving that makes it almost impossible to stick to a diet like this. So I just wanted to say, of all the diets that I've tried, this is probably one of the easiest to follow because I feel satisfied and I saw results so quickly. So if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, we'd love if you'd give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the little bell button so you won't miss any new uploads. I wish you the best of health, and if you decide to try this diet, you can do it, stick to it, and I hope and pray that you find results. Have a good day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!